Welcome to A Pod of Wings and Filth, where two voracious fantasy readers dive into the magical, gritty, and sometimes downright filthy world of fantasy.
On this podcast, we chat about our favorite fantasy books, from dragons and magic to the dark, twisted corners of fantastical realms.
I'm Morgan, and I always read the book before watching the TV show or movie.
And I'm Heather, and my bookmarks always have to match the book I'm reading, or it gives me tremendous anxiety.
We've got a lot of opinions, a lot of passion, and even more books to talk about. So grab your favorite brew, maybe a magical artifact or two, and join us as we get into all things magic, wings, and a little bit of filth.
Content warning. Expect spice, swearing, spoilers, and strong opinions on dubious character choices. This is an adult show meant to discuss adult things unfiltered for an adult audience. Today's episode will contain spoilers for all of the Ashes and the Star-Cursed King and the Serpent and the Wings of Night, aka the Nightborn duet. If you're not ready for unhinged fandom energy, turn back now. Otherwise, spread your wings, grow your horns, and let's get filthy.
I'm so excited to get into Ashes finally.
I love this one because we get Raihn point of view.
I love it so much. I love his POV so much. I don't think I realized until we read this book how much you want his POV.
I think this might have been the first romantasy book that I read with the dual POV too.
Maybe. Now that I'm thinking about it, that might be the same for me.
This was one of the first ones I picked up because I started with Sarah J. Maas and I did ACOTAR. And then I think I did Crescent City after this, but I know that I did A Trial of the Sun Queen. And then I think this was the next one I picked up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this cemented me in the world of romantasy. But I'm pretty sure this was it first I ever read with a dual point of view with the male and female main characters.
It's so good.
It's so good because I love Raihn. He's top 5 guy for me. So it's great to see the way he observes Oraya.
Mm-hmm.
Because he loves her the way I do.
We open the prologue of Ashes exactly where Serpent gutted us. Oraya trembling in the aftermath of Raihn killing Vincent, her air mark flaring like a cosmic middle finger to everything she thought she knew. But now we get Raihn's POV too, and he's absolutely wrecked. He thought he was saving her, giving her power, freedom, everything. Instead, she looks at him like a monster. And the worst part, he agrees. His inner monologue is a masterclass in grief, guilt, and devastating regret. Oraya, while feral with rage and heartbreak, might have hated Vincent, but she loved him too. And she's glowing with her untold air power and alone in ways she's never been before. Oraya's favorite hobby in part 1, night, ignoring Raihn. Her second favorite, quietly plotting his death while stuck in a plush prison of royal drapery and trauma. As the newly revealed Hiaj heir, trademark, her Nightfire magic gets a major glow up and she wastes no time figuring out how to jailbreak herself from her glorified cage. Meanwhile, Raihn's busy juggling a crumbling kingdom and a wife who cries through the walls but won't speak to him. The vibes are tense. While stalking the palace in stealth mode, Oraya stumbles across Vincent's magical mirror, a relic only he should have been able to use, and gives Jasmine her first official orders as queen. Evacuate Misrata, strike the Sivranaj armory. Oraya may be furious, grieving, and emotionally wrecked, but she's powerful, perceptive, and done being anyone's pawn. Lol. In part 2, New Moon, Raihn is trying to rule a starving kingdom while his emotionally combusting wife glares at him like she's planning his funeral. Enters Septimus, a smug snake of a bloodborne who's accidentally screws up Raihn's Misrata plans that were already in motion. Suspicious? Absolutely. Then the Sivranaj armory explodes in a haunting echo of the Moon Palace bombing, and Oraya is helpless to stop it. When she and Raihn meet in the wreckage, they realize they should want to kill each other, but they don't, and that truth cuts deeper than any blade. Needing privacy from Septimus's ever-creeping goons, they sneak off to a janky human district apartment and finally talk. They don't trust each other, but they both want Septimus out of power. So they strike a truce. Temporary, fragile, and definitely not fueled by lingering feelings. Except it totally is.
Gosh, yes. And one person is aware of that while the other is not. I love this book so much, and I love how it starts off. I think it was my first book, too, where it left it with the cliffhanger of the couple having fallen in love, and then they were at odds at the end of the story. And now, having read hundreds of those, I can say with authority that I think that this is probably one of the best that exists.
For sure.
And I think I would say partly because the self-awareness and the emotional intelligence of both of them. Like Oraya knows that she still has feelings for Raihn.
Yeah, she does. She is just faking them to herself, basically.
So she's angry with him. She feels a sense of betrayal, but she still knows him. She doesn't go through like we see a lot with the female main characters in this scenario where they're like, he's evil and I hate him and he lied to me one time, so I do not accept him ever again and I will punish him for 3/4 of the story. I do not like that.
Me neither, because it feels, I think we've talked about this a lot in our deep dive of Serpent. It feels childish.
Yes.
Right? It feels too youthful for all of the emotional journey we have already been on. Whereas I feel like Oraya being able to acknowledge, like, she is grieving, she is in the depths of despair because of the realizations about Vincent that she has had and the realizations about Raihn, even though she can acknowledge only to herself here in the first 2 parts, but she can acknowledge that she understands why he had to do what he had to do.
And that makes it so much more complex and interesting too, because you have that dichotomy and that's also so real. And I think particularly in a breakup, you don't just go on and you don't just hate that person either. It's a mix of both.
Right. And that's even what she's going through with Vincent as well. She loved him. She loved the father she knew. In a lot of ways, she respected the king that he was. She is just grappling with finding out truths about him, therefore about her, in the wake of his death, not from him. Like, that is devastating. That's absolutely brutal emotionally.
There's the opportunity for her to resolve this with Raihn, but there isn't with Vincent. The 2 men that she's trusted in her life lied and betrayed her. And it was so difficult for her to trust anyone, to be able to open up and have that vulnerability, to have it crushed. It's like, see, you were right in the first place. Don't ever open up again.
Right. One of the things I love about where this starts, and I only noticed it when we were doing the deep dive, but the titles of the parts of this book, the moon cycles, the moon phases, are the inverse mirror of what they are in Serpent. You then have to think about it goes through the phases and then it goes back. We have talked a lot about the ways that these stories, this story in particular, Carissa writes these mirror moments where, right, Raihn having to interact with Oraya and imprison her is very similar and mirrored to the way that Vincent did. Different, but similar enough that it feels like that mirror. It's just one of those tiny little things that I think makes a really big impact.
The story starts with a mirror moment. We get to see Rain's point of view and his death from his perspective instead of Araya's. My God! Way to open the book, Carissa! You get to see the choice he makes to sacrifice himself for her, to sacrifice his entire kingdom for her.
Which was an interesting moment. Even reading Rain's POV where he makes the nod deal with Septimus in the crowd. I still don't understand the deal.
I don't either.
It is clearly a concession of you have the power, but that's it. And also, it makes me think of what we've talked about with the magic system. I don't need to know necessarily all of the specific rules. Like, if that's the vibe, you better tell me the rules and you better follow those rules, unless there's a reason you're breaking the rule. But if you are not going to tell me, I don't need to know. I just need you to communicate the weight of it. Thinking about this deal with Septimus, which clearly rules the story. It rules the story in Serpent. It really commands the story in Ashes. It's the big, Septimus becomes the big bad, basically, for a while. Even reading Rain's POV of that moment, like, Septimus is agreeing to Angelica dying.
Like, what are the sacrifices here?
What are we actually conceding to? What are we actually agreeing to? Because, like, if you know Raihn and Oraya even remotely, and this is a theme that comes up through the rest of Ashes a lot, you knew he was never going to kill her.
Yes.
Never.
Yes. And Septimus, he's an in the background goon.
Yes.
And I kind of enjoy those more because I can facilitate what he is doing and thinking and all of those things in my head.
Yeah, let your own imagination ride.
Yeah, so you can sit there and kind of picture everyone. I enjoy where the villain is not actually on the page doing things as much, especially if the rest of the characters are telling you who he is, either through their reactions to him or their memories of him, which is what happens here. We get more of it from Raihn now because we are getting to find out a little bit of what their deal was and how it came about. And towards the end of part 2, he confesses to Oraya. Yeah. So it just kind of happened. Like he fell backed into a corner. We know Raihn is smart. But in this instance with Septimus, you can feel how over his head he is.
He's desperate.
Yes. He has no one that he can trust. He is not in that different of a position as far as sense of peril than Oraya is.
And I'm glad you said that because we were talking about those mirror moments, right? In Ashes, we get Raihn's mirror moments. So the desperation of having to make that deal with Septimus mirrors the desperation that he had in the moment that he made the agreement bargain to be turned.
I mean, clearly it was a thing that he did not want. He
didn't know what he was agreeing to.
No, he really didn't.
I would argue that was not informed consent.
Nope. he was way out of his depth.
Right. Well, and with King Neculi, so we get a lot of these flashbacks. The interludes in this book are Raihn's flashbacks. They're short, they're sweet, they give us just enough background and historical context. But we get Raihn's turning story through these interludes in part 1 and part 2. They are the beginning of finding out how Raihn came to be a vampire, how he got turned by the king. And you are led to believe, and I will admit, this is gross. The gross abuse of power, which again is the theme of this story, is so disgusting that you are led to believe that King Neculi, the Rishan king prior to Vincent, would wait on the beach of Nyaxia's Hook because apparently it would consistently basically crash human boats on their shore.
Yeah, it was like it's like whitefish up in Superior over there, where it's just shipwreck freaking graveyard.
Right. She calls Nyaxia's Hook because apparently a lot of humans die. And you're led to believe that King Neculi, the king of the vampires, of the Rishan Nightborn vampires, just sits on the beach waiting for humans to die so that he can basically make a dead man's bargain with them to turn them into vampires and then, in all intents and purposes, turn them into slaves. I was so grossed out by the idea of this all-powerful being, right? He has more power than he knows what to fucking do with. If his power is even an ounce of what we learn Raihn's is, like, this is untold power he has it coursing through his body. And his greatest kink is waiting for humans to die on the beach and come crawling to him. And with their last breath, he can save them by turning them into vampires. And again, we find out 1 in 3 turnings is successful. So most of them just die anyways with his fucking fangs in their neck. I hate it. I hate him so much.
This is an off-page villain that's already deceased. So how do we make him formidable? And also, now that we look at him, we think, oh, maybe Vincent wasn't so bad.
Maybe Vincent wasn't so bad. I mean, we do find out some fucked up shit about Vincent in this book.
We do. Of all the books that we have read, Morgan, I feel like this is one of the harshest worlds. It's just so brutal for everyone.
In this book, I can't help but notice how devastating it felt to me, the reader, the first time Oraya recognizes that hearing Vincent's voice in her head again hurts.
I don't remember the grief being so profound before since I read it last, but it is so, so present. And we went through the whole entire book of Serpent, cheering her on to not have Vincent's voice in her head anymore. And I admit, I almost was like, yay.
Well, right. It's that push-pull, right? Like, we wanted her to develop her own voice for the first time in her life. But her own voice is, of course, influenced by Vincent's voice. Like, that is just the reality of being a human or a vampire in whatever world you live in, is that you are carved and created and influenced heavily by the people who teach you how to be a person in the world. And for her, unfortunately, or fortunately in some ways, that was Vincent. And so to be able to recognize that when she starts hearing his voice again, it's really bittersweet. She wants to hear his voice, but it hurts to hear his voice.
And no matter how complicated your relationship is with family, I have a very complex relationship with my mother. It's not a good one.
Same.
And it's really difficult to balance those conflicting emotions all the time, which I think is why this just hits us so hard, is because it's something that we can all understand and we all have struggled with on some level before. But she has no one to go through this with. And the one person that she could or would turn to is Raihn, and she can't.
Well, she can't because he basically put her back in her prison. I think this is part of why getting Raihn's POV in this book is so heartbreaking but needed, because you have to be able to hear him regret it. Otherwise, you are just drowning in her sorrow, right? Like, you are consumed by her sorrow and her devastation, but you have to be able to hear him say, I wish I had a better option. I don't.
We've seen this storyline in many, many books, and usually the main male character is just extremely persistent. And most of the time we see it from the female main character's point of view. We are feeling her emotions and sometimes struggling against them. When you're going back and forth with their point of view through this too, you are empathizing with both of them.
Right.
There is no bad guy. And this was such a hard lesson for me in life, was a story does not have to have a villain in it. For someone to have wronged you or hurt you or something to not go right, it doesn't mean that they are evil and they are completely and entirely wrong, because I didn't understand accountability until I was a grown adult.
Well, and even the concept that like both people participate in a pattern in order to make it real, right? To be able to own that maybe there is a bad guy in the story. Maybe there is. There's not in this one, but in life, sometimes there is. And it doesn't mean that you didn't participate in creating whatever world happened. And that doesn't make it your fault. It doesn't make it everyone's fault, right? Like, that's not just a shared blame, but it is deep and true accountability.
This is only 2 weeks after the Gajari. I don't think either of them would change what they did in the first book. I don't think that they would change their actions. They were the best choices they had at the time with the information that they had and the understanding they had. And I love that so much. Oh my gosh, I just love that these characters are put in situations and they still can't get out of them. This isn't just a set this up. No, this is so real. Oh, I love it. Which is why it burns.
It is why it burns. And I think it's why the easy route out is to just hate Septimus. And in these first 2 parts, like, by all means, he's doing plenty of weird, creepy, gross stuff to hate. When he puts out his cigarette into his own hand, right? Like, Raihn says, put it out, and he goes, okay.
Yeah, it was a weird flex, but I mean, it was a true villain flex.
Right, what are you fucking doing, man? Like, that was the first time I was like, oh, this guy's fucked up in the head. Like, he is unwell.
But even with the Bloodborne, as twisted and shady and manipulative as Septimus is, their collective as a whole, they're viewed as like feral monsters, but they were cursed.
They're cursed.
They're desperate. So watching them do what they're doing now, I understand the motivation.
Yeah.
I understand their desperation. Does that mean that Septimus isn't a bad guy and he's the villain of the story? He absolutely is. But I totally understand where they're coming from as a group.
These are those mirrors, right? Even Septimus's story mirrors in this, right? We have Raihn's desperation. Yeah. Well, and you have offered, I mean, we were talking earlier about the interview with V.E. Schwab and Jodi Picoult. And V.E. Schwab talks, ooh, I adore her. I adore these 2 women so much. Like, God tier authors. She talks about how vampires are like the ultimate vehicle, basically, for violence, for sexiness, for all of these like really juicy plot devices. And I think the way Carissa plays on it is so beautiful. Honestly, the like undercurrent is desperation.
So we keep talking about mirrors and how this book is, you know, that to Serpent. We start with Oraya being locked in her room once again. And then Raihn eventually comes and shows up, and he's trying very hard to be typical Raihn.
Yeah.
He's pushing her buttons. He's doing it to elicit a reaction because he's been hearing her cry
through
in the next room.
Walls.
Yes. So she brings her out because they're married now too. Like, let's not forget that they've gotten married under these terrible circumstances, even though they truly love each other. And he has done it to protect her so they won't kill her
Mhm.
or torture her or do whatever. And she does not see it that way yet, but she knows, or she'd be way more angry. But she's not really that angry about the marriage thing. I think she's disappointed. So they have to go before the nobles, because let's not forget that nobody wants our turned vampire to be the king. They don't want Raihn there.
This is where we start to get the idea of what Rain's life was like under King Neculi. Because I
Very
think
gross.
she only ever says slave. That's what she calls
Mhm.
it. But I think we are led to believe that he was a sex slave.
I definitely got that impression. Yeah, that'll impact you for centuries. One of the things that I also connect to with Raihn and Oraya is their anger.
Yeah.
They use it for the most part, they use it in a very profound way. They use it to give them strength. But let's be fair, Raihn does let his go because Raihn likes to look like the big dumb brute that he's not. And
Yes.
the first time he was in that throne room, he was looking at the pictures and we saw him do his, I'm the bad guy. And he did it also in the Moon Palace where he just destroyed that bro. And that's what happens here. We have somebody who shows up and is supposed to be showing their fealty. And he's just a noble, but he's a powerful noble.
It is Martis, and he is the brother of Simon, who we are supposed to understand is one of the most powerful, respected Rishon nobles, period. And he didn't show up, and he was supposed to. He was summoned by the king, and it doesn't matter if the king is turned or a previous slave. Like, the king summoned you, and you didn't show up.
And they're not showing much respect to Raihn, and he's not liking it, but he's also like, fine, whatever. But then this guy insults Oraya, and I love being at Rain's point of view for this because he's like, don't fuck with my girl, and then he just destroys him.
Literally, like, explodes. Like, he takes his head and uses his Asteris, and his body just like disintegrates, and then he drops his head. Like, they describe it as like a wet thump.
I love that scene so much. And then for a little cherry on top at the end, he looks over at Oraya and she's like, how?
Because they're still acting, right? Raihn is acting now fully as king. He has to take on this new persona, this new mask for himself. And Oraya is acting like a hostage. But Raihn claims she's a hostage. That changes. But Raihn looks at her after doing so, and Oraya gets her first glimpse of the real Raihn underneath again. These tiny little glimpses that remind her that he's still in there.
He's not masking with her either. And I'm pretty sure the last time that he eviscerated someone in that manner, it was to protect her.
And yeah, that vampire in the Moon Palace that came after her for killing his brother. I
love it so much.
I love all the mirror, like these moments that reflect each other. Oh, we are deep diving it so they feel more apparent to us. But when you are just reading this for funsies, that stuff is so subtle. You would not notice it.
This is like why rewatches and rereads can be so great. I love going back when you have the knowledge so you can look for the things. But I'm thoroughly enjoying it here because there is so much nuance. There are always layers of things happening. We get to meet Vale right now too.
Yes.
And Vale is one of my favorite vampires, and I never thought I'd say that when I read this the first time until I read Six Scorched Roses.
He's so grumpy. I guess we haven't really talked about that on the pod yet. That we made a decision when we decided to deep dive Crowns of Nyaxia that we were going to leave the standalones out. That we were not going to deep dive the standalones. Because if we did, this deep dive would be even longer than it will already be. But it's already scheduled out for a whole fucking year, basically. Yes. That is just the duets. We made a decision to leave the standalones out. I will place a little bit of information here about the standalones. Carissa recommends you read Serpent and the Wings of Night, then Six Scorched Roses, which is a standalone book about Vale and his wife, Lilith.
It is one of my favorite romance stories ever in the history of the world.
Yes! It's a tiny little novella. It is so sweet. Patrick read it recently, and he adored it. He was like, this is so cool because there's a science aspect to it, but it is just the backstory of Vale and Lilith. You don't need them in order to read the series and know where it's going. We do recommend you read them. There's Six Scorched Roses, and then the other standalone is Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. which I adore.
Read anything Carissa writes. Just do it, please.
There's no wrong choice. But yes, we did make that decision intentionally for those wondering.
So if you have read Six Scorched Roses already, you know that beautiful story of our grumpy vampire Vale, who's grumpy for everyone other than Lilith. He's a brooder, but he's a badass too.
Yeah,
which he's kind of more like chill in Six Scorched Roses. So when I went back and read, he doesn't want to be warrior man anymore. And that is not a big spoiler. So when he comes back, there is this big question mark because he was loyal to Neculi. Raihn saw him as a loyal general and soldier. He was not expecting cooperation for him. So Vale walks in with this big dick energy and he consumes
kneels
his face.
in the guy's blood.
And and then he lays down, this is our king and I will serve you and we are loyal. And I was like, oh, this guy scares the shit out of me, but I like him a lot. And we find out why he's showing fealty to Raihn.
To Raihn.
But at this moment, you don't really know. So it's another big question mark. And it's also, I'm scared of him because he's a powerful dude, clearly. And also, why are you here and I don't trust you? You have to prove to me that I can trust you. Yeah, because I don't trust anyone in this world.
Oh.
You have to show me. Vale comes in and shows that he's not just
Right.
going to sit there and kiss his ass either. He's like, this was stupid. Why did you do that? Get your shit together, dude. Come on. Have you learned nothing from years of following our great Lord and Savior Neculi, the sick son of a bitch? And Raihn kind of needs that.
You almost get the sense Raihn needed a father figure. Even though Vincent's voice in Oraya's head is twisted and fucked up and she doesn't love it, it is a grounding force for her. He doesn't have that. He has Neculi's voice in his head. Neculi was a sick, twisted son of a bitch. Raihn is I don't want to be anything like him, but I also kind of have to be like him in order for these people to respect me. And Vale is you know better. Come on.
And that's the thing too. Raihn is emulating Neculi's strength. He doesn't want to become him. Oraya still sees Vincent as two people. She sees him as the king and then as her father.
Yeah.
But we also get to see another mirror right after this. I think it's Karis. I think that's how we say his name.
Karis and Keturah and Vale are Raihn's three main advisors.
Karis has not liked Oraya from the start.
Nope. He's the one that said kill her.
Yes! And isn't that funny? Because here's another mirror where they're looking at Oraya the same way people are looking at Raihn.
Mm-hmm.
Oraya, she's a half vampire. She is Vincent's daughter. We need to murder her.
She's the Hiaj heir. She is a threat to his throne. Unequivocally a threat to his throne.
And he's not wrong.
Well, I think Raihn is hoping that when he and Karis and Keturah, long before the Kajari became a thing, when the rebellion was happening with Neculi, he believes that they meant it the way that he meant it when he said things needed to change.
Yeah.
And so when he looks at Oraya, he's like, yeah, things have to change. There's no reason I have to kill her. I love her. What if we ruled together and made a better world together? But Karis and Keturah have lived too long under Vincent's rule, have been abused and torn apart, and their families have been destroyed, and are like, no, man, that's not what we meant. We meant only for the Rishon. And Raihn's like, but why? Why?
This gives us a good time to talk about Nesinin, which I don't like her.
I don't either.
I love you, thank you. I don't trust her. I don't believe her motives. I don't trust anything about her. And she's off page, so.
I was going to say she's off page, which I do have some hot takes about people coming back from the grave to play big plot points. I may or may not be talking about Danica.
Sometimes this works really well and sometimes it doesn't. Danica is the most active dead person ever.
The most active dead person literally in the world. Nesinin is a close third. Vincent must be number 2. Yeah, Nesinin is an odd character. You're supposed to feel some empathy for her. She is the wife of King Neculi, who, again, we have learned is truly sick and twisted and has these really, really dark longings and desires that he has no fucking shame engaging with out loud. And apparently, it's totally normal for everyone else to be totally down with that. There are a lot of lines that Raihn, sort of one-liners that are just slipped in about Neculi gifting him to other nobles, and
it's so awful.
So Nesinin is sort of portrayed as this quiet, meek. She's just kind of there. wallpapery is sort of how I read her. It's not worth the fight is sort of her line that comes back time and time again is who wins if you fight back and you die? Basically, you risk death. And the answer is potentially everyone wins.
You know, that's a proper response of someone who's been in an abusive relationship for centuries. After a while, you don't have the energy to fight anymore. You don't. It's exhausting. Or the other possibility is she's full of shit.
Right.
We know that she and Raihn had a sexual relationship, and we know that Raihn was in love with her. But I think it's Karis that says it in somewhere in this section too, says, we all loved her.
We all loved her.
So what does that mean exactly?
Raihn sort of glazes over that. And
He
I
sure
think
does.
as the reader, you're supposed to be like, wait, we all loved her?
Did you all have this
Did you all
relationship with her?
share her?
Was she using you for sexy time or whatever else?
I don't know that I could blame her. I mean, I don't like the idea that she was using him the way he was being used by everyone else.
I don't trust Raihn's perception of her because of his mental state at the time. And if she was the only good thing in his life, then he's not going to be objective about those memories and that relationship at all.
Raihn can't really read it that way, but you, the reader, are supposed to read it that of like, like Raihn just wasn't, like kind of, they're there. You really thought you had something special. She never said she loved him. And he acknowledges like maybe she couldn't, maybe she wasn't capable. And like, I don't necessarily think he's wrong there. But yeah, it's not as beautiful as he had painted those memories to be and probably needed those memories to be fair.
I hate how impactful the memory of her is. I think that's what drives me nuts because it causes so many problems. And it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that I just want Raihn to have only loved Oraya.
Oh, no.
That's not a thing for me at all. Plus, this is centuries. You can love more than one person in your life. It's totally fine and normal.
I think that gets glazed over a little bit when we have these like very old immortal beings with these much younger female main characters. How are we supposed to equate our human concept of a human lifetime, which is like roughly 80 years, to centuries? It's normal for humans to have multiple partners in the like 10s or 20s by the time they're 20 years old.
Yes, and that's brevity. If you don't read the Vampire Chronicles, the vampires can't have sex. Their urge to have sex is no more. And they just have, but they still have the ability to love. And it's very different. So the companionships in these stories are so fucking beautiful. And I just re-listened to the first 6 books this year so far. And I was enjoying it as an adult woman going, oh, wow, this is so much more profound even now. But those relationships constantly have conflict because you spend centuries together, like Louis and Lestat. It's over like 100 years of these two with I hated him. No, you don't. You love me and you know it. And they can only stay with each other for so long because no matter how strong their love and their connection is time. And after a while, you need those breaks from each other. And also you get whisked away by something new on occasion. So if you're interested in seeing like true dynamics of relationships that develop over centuries, I don't know anybody that's done it better than her.
Quite like she did.
Yeah, it's really, really great way of looking at relationships and immortality and what it actually means. Like you said, it's usually the main male character that's been around forever.
It is interesting, though, to apply the concept we've been talking about, Rain's desperation, like his mirrored theme throughout, making these desperate choices from desperate moments when he just needs to hold on to something stable. And I think it's easy to see Nessun in that way. He was so desperate for any connection, any sense of love, even if it wasn't really good or real. I don't get the sense it was bad. I just don't get the sense it was very real or very deep. Certainly not the way he describes Oraya and loving Oraya.
Exactly. And I think he knows the difference between those two things too. Even when he talks about Nessun, it's with affection and pain, but Oraya where it's feral and it is a part of, like, they are a part of each other. Like, he just destroyed that guy. Don't talk about my wife.
Touch her or die. Don't look at her. I will explode you with Nightfire and Astera.
Yeah, that's one of our favorite tropes. I'm so there for it. It's fantasy, y'all, okay? I'm not saying that's okay in real life, but in these stories, I love the shit out of that.
Out of some possessiveness? Yeah.
Yeah. Possessive mixed with the protectiveness. Knowing full well that she can handle herself. You disrespect her, you look at her wrong, I will kill you. I feel that feel that energy too. So yeah, I get it. And I love it. I love it.
I'm curious, shifting into Oraya's escape from her room,
That's what I was just going to talk about, her magic.
did it feel too easy to you?
A little bit, because it was so difficult to get there before.
It's funny because Vincent never actually put locks on her door.
No.
And the first time I read this, I will admit I had a little bit of a Harry Potter moment when I said, "They put bars on his window, Mom. I'll put bars on your window, Ronald Weasley." But Vincent never had to put any locks on her door. He had fully locked her in that room mentally. He also didn't curse her window, so she used to escape through the window to kill the vampires. Raihn fully locked her in. Locks on the door, curse on the window.
Because he knew that she'd escape.
Right.
And he did not want her to. And that made me angry, but I also understood it.
Same.
So I was with her on that. But yeah, it was a little bit easy that it came to her, but she also has more power now. And what we learned in the first book is Oraya's magic is fueled by her emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So she wanted this. She truly wanted to escape. She had a little bit of help with the locks not being fully locked. Oh, I wonder what happened there. Can't imagine who did that.
When I was first reading it, I was like, come on, I'm a passenger princess, and I can see that this was too easy. You then find out it was a setup.
She goes directly to Vincent's study.
Yeah.
And this part is so sad.
It's so painful.
She smells him in there. It's like he's alive again.
It's an interesting mix of her humanness and her humanity and her vampiric nature. Sort of comes out more now that she knows she's half vampire. I think obviously Vincent has spent a lot of time squashing it out of her and telling her, you're just a human, you have this weak skin, weak blood. But as she has learned that she's a vampire, it seems like her vampire senses are becoming more and more real. So like she can smell him. And part of me is like, can she smell him? Because she's like getting in touch with her vampire senses. And then there's a mix of that with his magic and her interaction with his magic. So she finds shards of a mirror. And when you cut yourself on it and then you bleed on it, it like reassembles. And then you can two-way talk to someone on the other side who has the other mirror.
Up to that point, she's wandering around his office, looking at stuff too. She is seeing the king side of him. She's been grieving for her father for the last couple weeks. But being in his office and seeing all of the maps where he's ordered all these people to be killed, she remembers his cruelty. She remembers that he is also a monster.
A ruthless killer.
Yeah. And she's not remembering his love. And I think it actually helps her move forward in this scene and accepting that duality of him. So when she picks up the shards and there's that blood connection between the two of them. And what do we hear when the shards come together, Morgan?
Jasmine is on the other side. It's a tool for secret war stuff.
I love this so
This kind of magic stuff is so fascinating. Again, I don't need to know how it works. Magic. Woo. I believe you. That's all I need to know. And the first time it cuts and you see her red blood, because vampire blood is black or more black or darker, and you see her red blood sort of pool on it. And she makes a comment about her weak red human blood in her mind. And it kind of isn't holding the mirror together, so she cuts herself more. And you can kind of hear Jasmine, but not really. And then Raihn walks up the hallway, and so she gets rid of it. She sticks it in her pocket. And she hides under the desk, which is so funny. The whole time she's like, this is the shittiest hiding spot. Raihn comes walking up the hallway with Karis. I had the question of like, does he smell her long before? Does he know she's left the room? There's a lot of questions unanswered.
I just love that he smells her. I don't know why it turns me on when they can smell each other, but it is so sexy. This is not a sexy scene. No, but it's sexy.
It's very primal, right? Like it's those like base instincts. And I think that's part of why vampires are such a sexy fantasy medium.
I agree.
But yeah, so he finds her. She hides under the desk. And he's like, are you going to come out or are you going to make me come find you?
She's being a brat.
She's being such a brat. But to loop back to the mirror, when she first cuts herself in the office on it and realizes what's happening, she's so taken aback by the reality that she is Vincent's daughter. Whereas in the room, when she uses it again to give Jasmine the secret orders to attack the armory, she has come to terms with the fact that her blood is not weak human blood. Her blood is powerful vampire blood as well. And I just love that. I love it so much.
I mean, such a huge part of Serpent was her
Right.
not accepting who she was,
Right.
and what she was.
That was her accepting her humanness. And this story is about her accepting her vampire. But in the office with Raihn, they finally have their first like head to head. And she screams, "You killed my father."
Put the book down. I was in the library. I'm listening to the audio, which, by the way, I love Aiden Snow. That is not how I pictured Rain's voice to be at all, but I love his voice. And now I'm totally buying it. I'm listening and taking my little notes. I put the book down. I put my pen down, and I had to take a minute. I had to take a minute because I felt it so profoundly. It's weeks of grief, of anger towards Rain. But I think part of her frustration is not being truly angry at him for killing him. She's not really mad at him for doing it. She's mad that he's gone. She's also mad that she's never going to get any of her questions answered from him. She can never confront him and get that closure that she so desperately wants.
She never gets to hear it from Vincent, the person she needed to hear it from. There are so many pieces and parts of her story, of her experience, of her existence, basically, that are unanswered. And so coming to these answers in the wake of his death is so much harder.
Rain, he just takes it. That's why he's been trying to pick a fight with her. This is why he's been trying to agitate her, because he knew that this is what she needed.
Yeah, she needed to scream and yell at him. She needed to let it out. But what he misses a little bit in poking her so frequently is she needed to come to it on her own terms.
Yep.
And this moment is her finally doing that, of being fully confronted with Vincent, his smell, his kingly persona, her knowledge of him as her father, the mirror, all of these different secretive pieces. And she has to come to it on her own terms. And she finally does. And she lets it loose, man.
And that is how part 1 ends.
Yeah.
It's so emotionally brutal. And then after this, the story starts to pick up and it turns into more of what we know.
Yeah.
I got a sense of the two of them kind of having an understanding after she had that catharsis too. I felt like,
oh, something shifts big time.
Yeah,
for the two of them.
There's a big shift there. There's not, hey, I trust you and you're my buddy, but there is a, I had to say these things and you are not my enemy, but you are also not my friend.
Wings? So in part 1, we get basically the beginning inklings that Septimus has set everybody up for some flavor of failure, but you're not quite sure what. Part 2 is the realization that, yeah, he knows everything somehow. Like, the level of know everything he knows is like eyes and ears in the walls. Not just people, but like actual magical hearing somehow.
I feel the same as you. I'm like, I appreciate a good schemer.
Yeah.
I love a clever villain. I love a villain that always seems like he's playing chess and he's 10 steps ahead of you. I love trying to keep up and figure out what's going on. I think you feeling that way is 100% intentional.
Yeah.
And me not being a passenger princess and needing to know everything all the time. Right. And also predict the things. I love it, but I don't have any answers.
No. And we never get them. So the main event that happens that we find out Septimus has set us up is Oraya had given Jasmine the command through the mirror that she had overheard that the Bloodborne were going to be leaving Misrata, which is a Hiyaj stronghold, and the Bloodborne were going to be pulling back to go do something else. And as a result, the Sivernage armory was going to have less cover. And Oraya's like, well, we could hit that. It was very smart.
It was.
She was just working with flawed information.
She didn't know.
Right. It would be damaging.
This was also her first orders as a queen.
As a queen, which she was never taught to be. Thanks, Vincent. So she commands Jasmine to attack the armory. And it's not like make a stand. It's a one and done situation. That's the command. So there's a bunch of Rishon that are still at the armory when it explodes. Again, another mirror, but this one was explicit because Oraya says it feels like the Moon Palace exploding.
Does that make you wonder if maybe it was Septimus that did it?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, right before this too, we have a Raihn point of view, and he tells us through his inner monologue that somehow Septimus knew that he was the heir.
He ripped apart his inner circle in order to find the leak, and he never found it. He was like, I told No one. How did you know?
He says everyone underestimates the Bloodborne. They just think that they're crazy and cursed, but they are intelligent and they are desperate. And that combination is fucking dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So Raihn knew, and he's still in this situation because he didn't have any better choices. When I first read Serpent, I thought it was Jasmine, and I thought it was Vincent that blew up the
Yeah,
moon
me
house.
too. And they're like, no, it's just convenient, don't you know? And you're like, well, but like, you know, convenient in what way? Now it feels way more like, oh, Septimus is pulling all of the strings. Everybody's marionette strings.
He knows exactly what he's doing. And this is why it's attractive to them to work with him, is because Oraya thinks she's getting what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
She decides she's going to go fight because she must. She's Oraya. If they're fighting, she should
and
fight.
And also, yeah, she has like deep guilt. Right? This is her first royal decree, right? Her first decision as a royal. And she's like, shit, like I may have just cost some of my people their lives. I have to go join them. That's my duty. And it's one of the things that makes her such a good leader, even though she's reluctant to be, that she recognizes that their lives are precious.
So she's leaving and she's got a cloak on. So she looks like a young boy. Mm-hmm. And she's on a horse, and lo and behold, she goes right by Septimus. And Septimus is like, "Where are you going?" Blah blah blah. She's like, "I
casually
have to go."
Smoking a cig.
So yeah, she takes off, and later she reflects and wonders, did he know? So Ray is already onto his shit. She doesn't trust him. She figures out later this was all set up because she starts to wonder, did he know that it was me then? Because he says something snarky like, "Probably should be on your way now. You've got stuff to do, don't you?"
I mean, he just casually walks across the street when she happens to be riding a horse down the road, desperately trying to get to her people. Like, no, come on.
No.
But he is 10 steps ahead of them.
And none of these actions can be confronted either because they are also subtle and so insidious.
And kind of convenient. And like, you could make an argument that, yeah, like, I didn't know it was you. You were under a hood. Why would I know? I can smell your fucking blood. That's why.
Oh, exactly. He
She
knew.
even asks in her mind, like, do you think he can smell that it's me and not just some kid? And it's like, yeah, bitch, of course he can. He's a blood-born vampire. If anyone can smell your blood, it should be him.
And he's going to know it's you because you're half vampire and half human, so you have a unique smell and taste, my darling.
So Oraya then rides off into the explosion, which, like, hilarious. The way our very brave female main characters ride into the danger and not away from the danger. Every time I'm like, oh, you heard something explode, you must go towards it.
I feel the same inclination though. Like if I hear a boom, my instinct is I must go find out what it is so I can assess the problem.
I want to know what it is. I want to know what it is, but I'm like behind something. Someone else tell me what it is.
I have Oraya vibes. I'm like, I want to go strap up and put all my weapons on me and go and see what's happening and deal with it. I do. So I get it.
It's very funny. Well, and then in the midst of the battle, right, she shows up. Basically, a Hiaj vampire like gets chucked off the top of the armory and dies in front of her, which is violent and gross. But throughout the fight, she and Raihn collide, and they start battling again, and are quickly confronted with the idea that they cannot kill each other.
No, they are hurting each other. Like they are taking out aggression on each other. Nobody knows how the other fights better than the other. So they absolutely could.
They're the only people who could.
Yep. And it becomes quite clear when Oraya has the chance for the killing blow and she pauses.
For the second time, she pauses. And this, to be honest, I think may have been almost more devastating than the first time she kills him. She is realizing she can't do it because she questions whether or not she did it the first time. Did he pull my hand or did I actually do it?
Yeah.
She doesn't know the answer to that question. But she pauses again in this fight, and someone shoots her with an arrow in defense of their king. And Raihn goes, what the fuck are you doing?
He loses his absolute shit.
Their people have no fucking clue what to do with them, basically.
No.
They're like, do you love each other? Do you hate each other?
Is this foreplay? Like, just let us know.
He's like, she was attacking you. And he's like, she had paused.
She paused, I know.
To be honest, I loved it a lot.
Both Rishon and Hiaj armies have been weakened. That's great for Bloodborne.
Yeah, the only people who get hurt, basically, are his enemies.
So they're diminishing the Nightborn and also simultaneously making them need the Bloodborne's army that much more.
It's really, really so sneaky. You talk about liking a really clever villain. I liked this a lot because you don't realize how villainous he is. Like, part of his cleverness is how he has poised himself as he's just a helper.
He's a good guy. He's just chilling, smoking his cigarillos. Yeah. And because I do look for patterns, I never trust Septimus from the second I met him in Serpent. But in this one, you get these breadcrumbs throughout, but you don't really start putting it together, I think, until this moment. This moment is when it's like, okay, we have been given an entire platter of clues, and they all lead back to our boy over here. But you can't confront him about it.
Well, because you might still need him. He could turn on you in unknown ways. The Bloodborne are sneaky. So she wakes up, and it's hard to tell if it's a couple of days or a week or so that she's been out and healing from this wound, which is sort of, again, a nod to her humanness. And Raihn wakes her up, and I had to laugh so hard because this is one of Oraya's dumbest moments, I think. But it's lighthearted. It's fine. Of all the things she could be dumb about, it's no big deal. But he wakes her up, and he offers her water, and she blanches. And he's like, "You think I'm going to poison you now?" And she's like, "I betrayed you." And he's like, "I just brought you back to life. You think I'm going to poison you now? What a waste of good healing potions. Why wouldn't I have just let you die?"
It's pretty funny. And she is usually so smart and rational, and she is so not here.
I think she's, subconsciously she's grappling with the failure that was this attack on the armory. Like, that was her call.
That, and also she could have killed him and she didn't. And he calls her on it. He keeps asking her and she does not answer. She's like, I tried, but I couldn't do it.
Right. It's not for lack of an attempt.
Yeah.
I just couldn't fucking put my blade through your chest.
I wanted to, but it just wasn't happening. She doesn't even respond and answer him. And he's digging to get that answer from her, because if she has to admit it to herself and she understands it, then he knows that he has her back.
Yeah. Well, and he's really livid in this moment because he has just found out from Septimus that he was pulling all the strings. And he's like, "I need you back so that we can be against this guy. Because I just found out some shit that basically he set both of us up, and I'm fucking mad about it, and I need you on my side."
Yes.
Which be mad with me.
Mirror again to the Moon Palace, where they became reluctant allies. Reluctant on her part both times. Him willing and knowing that they make a great team. So they're both badasses.
Mm-hmm.
But she is more willing and open at this point, because she knows that she got played. She knows that he got played, and she knows that they now have a common enemy that they have to face together. So reluctant allies.
Reluctant allies again, and they are pissed. And so then Raihn sneaks her out to the human district so that they can finally become for real allies again. We got to talk this out. And I don't know what the fuck Septimus put in the walls, but he can hear everything. So we have to go somewhere he will not be. And they go to this shitty little apartment that Raihn apparently has been living in part-time. I love it so much. It is Oraya's first time out of the castle. It's Oraya's first glimpse at Raihn having actually enforced the rules that the human districts are supposed to be safe.
Yeah.
She's like, "There's no vampires trolling. We're walking the streets to this apartment, and there are no vampires out."
Right before that, he gives her her own swords. He's like, "I couldn't get a hold of the poison, but here you go if you want to have a little fun."
But then there's no fun to have. She brings it up. They get into the apartment, and she's like, there's no vampires out. And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, and he's like, "Vincent chose not to enforce that rule," which is a heavy grief moment for her. We made this argument many times in our deep dive of Serpent. He's the king. If anyone has the power to do that, why wouldn't it be him?
He chose not to. Which, another nail in that coffin, which is good and bad for Oraya.
And Oraya coming to know that Raihn has made that choice easily. Of course I would do that. I want that as much as you want that. Is another sort of notch for her, taking her down a peg from hating him. Because really, what she hates is that she doesn't hate him.
Yes!
She should hate him. She wants to hate him. She does not hate him. She hates that she can't.
Mm-hmm.
They get into this apartment. It's clear Raihn spends a lot of time here,
I
which I
know.
think is kind of adorable, to be honest.
Oh my God, it makes me love him so much more. He's
Because
so
he's
my
such
guy.
a, this is that reluctant leader, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be a vampire up there in that stupid fucking castle that holds all of my trauma from centuries of pain.
No, he likes dive bars and shitty beers. He wants the simplicity. That's really what he wants. Even though he's an intelligent man, he isn't complex. He's just not. And it's really refreshing because he has self-awareness and he has emotional intelligence, but he also has this almost childlike essence about him. I'm picturing him just laying back on his silly bed and
Right?
kicking his feet and just be like, I love my shitty room. I love my shitty room. I don't know why, but those thoughts fill my head when I
There's
picture
something
him
kind
in
of
there.
college boy about it, for
Yeah,
sure.
I was thinking Hunt Athalar, actually. I was thinking of Hunt, like an unexpected for these big badass warriors to be just kind of like chill dudes.
Right, right. Like
Yeah.
underwear next to the hamper kind of situation. So then he turns into the most romantic vampire ever. And he gives her the Taker of Hearts, which is Vincent's legendary magical sword.
Okay, so I am a sucker for special weapons, weapons with
Yeah.
mythos, weapons with
Hell
magic,
yeah.
weapons with history, weapons with symbolism. Oh my God. Yes, yes,
love it.
yes. So he brings this in, and it was Vincent's, and only Vincent can wield it. Are you kidding me? It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's incredible. The Taker of Hearts is bad fucking ass. And Rain has to hold it like through a fabric or something. And Oraya grabs it through that, and even she can feel Vincent in it. And again, it is this moment of trying to reconcile. She wants to hate Rain. He has done all this awful stuff to her. And then he does this shit.
It's because he understands. He can hate Vincent and understand that he was her father. And he can understand, again, it's that emotional intelligence. He can understand and empathize with the fact that her father was a bad man, but she loved him and he loved her in his own way. And it doesn't change her grief or her loss of him. In fact, it amplifies it because she has to now accept that he was not only gone, but he was not the man she thought he was. And that's why this gesture is so romantic. It's because he continually puts her feelings and emotions before his hatred of Vincent because they can exist together.
Yes, they don't have to be mutually exclusive in any way. They go hand in hand, but they are, one is more important than the other. And the fact that he was her father is more important than Rain's hatred of him. But he's able to recognize Vincent was really fucking smart. Vincent did create Oraya. He taught her to be an incredible fighter. He taught her to have a ruthless, ever observing eye. He can appreciate all of those things about her and still despise Vincent. This scene is, I think, the singular tipping point
Agreed.
for them.
Well, this is a big green flag moment too. He also takes accountability for everything. He tells her, "You were right. I screwed up. I made mistakes. I was outplayed by Septimus. I thought I could do all these things and I didn't. I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to fix the things that I've done wrong. And I need you and I need your help. And I don't think I can do this without you."
And he offers her freedom. Help me get rid of Septimus, and I will let you go free.
There's no ulterior motive here. He's not saying, I'm going to win your heart back. He loves her too much to do that.
Which is so painful and sweet. And you also get your first glimpses that she could never leave. Like, she's too down for him. Like, no way. No way.
No, these two are forever. They don't have to be fated mates. I love the fated mates trope, but they don't need it.
No. And Carissa does such a beautiful job of making you understand the magnitude of their love and their connection without that.
It's because there's choice.
Yes.
If they continue to choose each other despite all of these things, they choose each other over and over again. And they earn back that love. In the first book, it's a slow burn. They don't get together till close to the end. And it's one time, one chapter. It is a nice
It's a good chapter.
It's a good chapter. But this one is very similar to where they have to earn that back with each other and they both have to work for it, which simultaneously shows that even when you love somebody and you care about them, you still have to work to repair broken parts of your relationship.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just happen overnight, even if you forgive each other.
Right.
Action.
It's a
Actions
process.
show everything. Yeah.
Right. Well, and it is, yeah, it is truly the like step by step rebuilding of their trust and their love, because they can both recognize in their own heads, separately from each other, not really out loud, that they still deeply care for each other and deeply love each other. But they have to walk the steps of repairing it, like you're saying. And I find that honestly really beautiful. I think it's really real. We've talked about these fantasy settings are just beautiful vehicles for actual, real, relatable shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's it, isn't it? If you're a male and you're listening to this, this is what most of us women really, really want.
This is the playbook.
Yeah, this is it. We're not asking you to go be a badass warrior. I mean, that's cool. Don't get me wrong.
For sure.
Very sexy, but we don't actually need that. It's his behavior and his choices and his respect and understanding and empathy. He is a strong dude. They both are strong together, and they are stronger together.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Right
well,
there.
And the choice to be together is one of the things that makes them stronger. They are both incredibly strong in their own right. And yet their choice to be together, to work together, makes them stronger. So the last two things, the way we end this act is with Misha returning, which is so sweet.
And I love that she shows up. And first of all, their relationship is 100% my brothers and my relationship.
Yes!
They're shitty to each other and they like kick each other's asses, but oh my God, do not mess with either of them because they will burn the world down. We also find Misha did actually orchestrate Raihn's entrance into the Gajari. She definitely forced his hand. And the question that I asked while we were reading Serpent was, what was she planning? Everybody dies. Was she going to sacrifice herself? But Raihn asks the same question. So he decides that she's going to have a very special role.
Ridiculous role. Misha needs a role in court, basically. And Oraya needs Misha. And Raihn knows that Oraya needs her. And so he assigns Misha as Oraya's bodyguard.
It gives her a reason to constantly be with Oraya. She now has somebody else that she can turn to that she trusts, not just him. So she doesn't have to go to him because there's no one else. When she wants to go to him now, it will be because she wants to.
And then we have the announcement that we're going on an adventure. And I am so excited because, wow, we learn a lot of shit about Vincent. And it's dark and really intriguing. And we meet a family member who is deeply traumatized and maybe has a fractured sense of self. We'll go with that.
That's a pretty good description right there.
She's fucked up, is what we'll say. She's real fucked up.
She's fucking crazy. Like loony fucking tunes.
Truly. We'll get into why in the next one.
It's going to be a ride. And plus, there's going to be lots of flying to get there.
There are tents. It's great.
If you're a romantasy reader, you know how fun that is. Because anybody else listening is going to be like, why the fuck are these bitches excited about tents?
Excited about the tents. The tents are second only in my mind to the one bed at the inn.
Yes, I agree. I 100% agree. I love forced proximity.
Me too. Because I think, in all fairness, it's also one of the most real tropes. Yeah. Proximity is one of the most common ways humans learn to care for each other. But while we are on the topic, I'm curious what your top 3 favorite MMC lines are.
I'm just going to confess. First of all, this was my stupid idea. And I had like a couple like basic ideas, and then I started diving deeper, and then all of a sudden I was hyper fixating, and it was like an hour of me looking through my books and just pulling them out and trying to find the best ones.
I mean, there are a lot. We have read a lot.
We are definitely going to miss a ton. So I'm going to give you, counting down, my top 3.
Yes.
Number 3, this is Khan from When the Moon Hatched. You see, I'm going to be doing this with you too. And by the way, I have a lot of runners up, so we're going to have to listen to them. Khan from When the Moon Hatched. Face death, Moonbeam, and I pray your bloodlust brings you the same sense of peace I feel just knowing you exist. It's already hot in here, but my God.
I'm obsessed with him. He's so beautiful. I can't believe I forgot him.
I think he's probably one of the best examples of longing.
Oh, yearning. Yes.
Yep. That longing, that yearning, that, oh my goodness, that tortured love. He is the best, or one of the best. I love Khan. Number 2 is Asar, and Morgan already knows what it is.
Number 1, Simp Us.
I just played the notes that sounded like you. That may very well be the most romantic thing I've ever read in my life.
Ever heard, ever.
It's
Ever,
so
ever, ever.
so beautiful. It just sends me every time. I think about it like once a day. It lives rent-free in my head. It really, really does, sincerely. All right. And my number one is none other than my Rowan Whitehorn, because I could have brought in like 10 things this motherfucker said. All right. Even when the world is a forgotten whisper of dust among the stars, I will love you.
Swoon. It's funny to me that two of ours are the same, and there are some that I am surprised are not on your list. So my number 3 is Rowan Whitethorn from Throne of Glass, To Whatever End.
Yes. It's on here.
And he made your list twice.
I have like 4 of his on here, okay? I will say them at the end.
Number 2, There You Are, I've Been Looking for You, Resand, A Court of Mist and Fury. And then my number 1 is a little more spicy because I couldn't leave it off the list. He deserves a place on this list every single time.
Is it Dorian?
It is not.
Okay. You forgot that one? See, there's too many. That's why I've got him on mine too. I assumed immediately that was going to be on yours.
I can't believe I forgot him. No, number 1 is Xaden Ryerson, Iron Flame, My House, My Chair, My Woman. That shit made me so feral. I have never been so feral. That is not my favorite book in the Fourth Wing, in the Empyrean series so far, which is fine. Book 2s never are. It served an incredible purpose, but oh my God, that scene made me so fucking feral.
Yep. That is top tier right there. Okay,
Yeah,
first of all, pretty much everything that comes out of Xaden's mouth for me is just panty throwing fucking dialogue. It really is. Like, Rowan has romance and he has some snark to him. Xaden, literally everything that man says, I'm like, oh.
I'm doing Kegels now just thinking about it.
My God, my face is sweating. I'm so hot right now.
Okay, start your honorable mentions. I only have 2. But I'm realizing I have some that should have been on my list. Anyways.
I guarantee you afterwards we're going to be thinking of shit all day. We'll probably be texting each other. Seriously. Okay, so I had Resands also, and I had To Whatever End. And then I had Thanks for the Oil. My Skin Was Dry with Rowan.
That scene
was so good. Okay, and then I have my Dorian. I'll bleed whatever color you tell me to.
Oh, that scene.
That is one of the hottest things I've ever seen written on paper.
Yeah. He overcomes being possessed to fucking do some fucking banter. Like, it is next level. I can't believe I forgot about Dorian, because Dorian is one of my all-time. Yeah, the only reason Dorian didn't make my list that we did earlier in this series was because we specified wings. But yes, Dorian is one of my top book boyfriends of all time because he's so fucking sexy and he's so snarky and his banter is just cutting, and him and Manon are just fucking hot. But
I've got a couple more. There she is, Raihn. We see it more often now, but this was the first time I ever saw it, and he uses it repetitively. And I love what it represents, that he sees who she really is. And when her true self comes forward, it's simple, but it's also so fucking beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then I have 2 fucking Xadens. Well, the fuck aware. I don't care the context that comes up in. I'm taking my panties off.
Yes.
And the moment when he has to do what he has to do, I don't want to do spoilers, but when he says you're all fucking dead.
Yeah.
And then they are. That turns me on. I don't care.
Yeah, it's sexy.
That's so sexy. Okay. And then here's another Resand one. Do you enjoy the sight of me kneeling before you? I thought she just fell over. I thought you just fell over. I have 2 more. This is from Blackwood from Phantasma.
Oh, yeah. That man is, he got some one-liners.
And this was one of them. My soul will go to its grave with your name echoing in my mind.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't remember who this one was, but I didn't write it down.
Say it out loud. I might be able to remember.
You might. This one was, you are the fate my heart was spared for. As long as it beats, you'll never be alone.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, it is. It's Luther from Spark of the Everflame. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yep.
That's a good one.
All right. Give me your honorable mentions while I'm over here.
Well, I was going to say, you already read both of my honorable mentions. So my first one is There She Is, Raihn, Nightborn Duet, Crowns of Nyaxia. I'm with you. I just love what it represents. It is him seeing her in those moments. It's so powerful and it's so beautiful. And it's tiny. There's 3 words that he says. And it's almost an under the breath thing that she hears. I love it. And then I have Asar, number 1 simp from Songbird and the Heart of Stone. I just played the notes that sounded like you. I will never read something like that ever again, unless it is book 2 of that duology, and I can only imagine what's coming next. Carissa created a green flag man like no other green flag man in Asar.
She does all the green flags, though. Like,
But like,
sincerely.
Asar is next fucking level to me.
Look at Raihn, look at Max, and he's more.
Right.
He is. He is.
Max. I'm so excited to get into our next part, but that's the end of episode 1 here.
Yes, thank
of
you
Ashes and
for
the Star-Cursed King.
thank you for joining us. This is so much fun. Morgan, can you tell everybody what you're currently reading?
Yes, I am. I did a very funny thing at the bookstore when I went and got the giant stack of books on my birthday. I accidentally picked up a book that I didn't know was part 2 of a series. So I finally got part 1, Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb. I picked up the second one because it sounded really good, and then realized when I got home that it was book 2. So I finally picked up book 1, and I'm excited to dig into it. I think it's going to be really good. What are you reading?
I have decided to finally try God of Malice by Rena Kent. I've heard a lot. It's they're dark romance, but I think the way I've heard them interpreted, like leveled up, like really, really, really dark. Particularly, this one is a starting point. They're standalones, but they are all connected, I think, into the same universe. I've read the first 2 chapters, and there was already some non-consensual stuff going on, and it was twisted. We will see with my mood reading ass if this gets read in like a day or if I have to wait like 3 weeks to come back to it.
That's fair. I feel like that will be the marker of just how dark it is.
Yes. Yes.
Like if it's too dark for you.
If it's too dark for me, it's bad. I read something last month that I was like, okay, this isn't too dark for me, but this is definitely not my bag. I think it was Little Strangers. There was some incestuous stuff going on there.
No.
I'm not here to judge, but I'm definitely not down for that.
I think sometimes I'm here to judge.
They were stepped from the time they were little.
No.
And he was a sociopath, which I was fine with that. Not the incest.
Just not the incest. Okay, we will be back with our next episode, which is going to be our buddy read of The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I am so excited to get into it. It's beautiful. Rachel Gillig writes some beautiful gothic stuff, and this will be a new read for both of us, so I'm excited about that. Please keep in mind we crowdsource our buddy reads, so you have to keep an eye on all of our social medias for the polls and vote for what you'd like to read with us next.
And that's been our show. Stay filthy. Thank you for listening to A Pod of Wings and Filth. This show is hosted, produced, and magically edited by Heather Baxendale and Morgan DeRocher. The music used is Magistar by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. See our show notes for important links. You can also find our podcast on all streaming services at wingsoffilth.podomatic.com. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at A Pod of Wings and Filth. Please give us a follow and a rating. Your support helps us so much.